Hey there, friends. Welcome back to the Her Business Elevated podcast. I'm your host, Demetria. I'm your friendly content creator, your digital marketer, and full-time homeschool mom turned full-time entrepreneur. I empower entrepreneurs and businesses to elevate their brands and grow their online presence through strategic digital marketing, including website design, podcasting, and SEO. My goal for this podcast is to encourage faith-filled women entrepreneurs to gain clarity as you turn your profitable passion into a plan of action. Now, if you're tuning in today, you are in for a treat. We're talking about one of my absolute favorite topics, which is the power of passion in content creation. Before we get started, just a quick note of housekeeping. You may hear some background noise today. I will not be editing that out because it is my beautiful daughter who is downstairs playing the piano right now, and I'm loving every minute of having her at home, enjoying her time as a teenager. And I'm learning as a mom how to just appreciate every aspect of my kids when they are happy. When they're happy, I'm happy. And so I'm letting her do her thing downstairs. And also there's a lot of wind outside. We're having a bit of a windstorm right now. So you might hear some noise from my outside elements, but I, again, will not be editing that out because that is life. Now, before we dive in, I do have a little something exciting to share. My brand new course, which I've been telling you guys about forever, is called Content with Confidence. And it is officially here, you guys. This course is, I'm just so excited. This course is for all of you entrepreneurs and creatives out there who are ready to create impactful content and show up boldly online. And guess what? It's on sale right now as of November 2024 until Black Friday. So I don't want you to miss out. Afterward, the price does go up, but it is still very reasonably priced. And so I don't want you to miss out on the sales while they last. And be sure to check out my latest YouTube video also, where I'm sharing my 20-year journey in content creation and how I built over 10 brands in the last 20 years. So let's just say it has been quite a ride. I am going to leave the link to that as well in the show notes so that you can hop on over to my YouTube channel and take a look. So let's get started talking about passion and why it matters in content creation. Why is passion so important? First of all, passion is what keeps the wheels turning. It's what gets you up at 6 a.m., maybe 6 a.m., maybe 7 or 8. For me, I'm up pretty early to write a blog post. It gets you up to record your podcast when you could easily stay in the bed. Passion gives you the energy to keep on going, even when the likes and the comments are not rolling in like you had hoped. Believe you me, I've had plenty of opportunity to experience things slowing way down in the arena of social media. And that's why I don't put all my eggs in one basket when it comes to socials and marketing and getting my information out to my prospects. But here's the thing. Passion isn't just about doing what you love. It's about connecting with a purpose. Your passion is the heartbeat of your brand. So when you tap into what truly lights you up, your audience feels it, and your content becomes magnetic because it's infused with this energy and you're being authentic. So I'm just going to take you back just for a minute about how I found my passion and turned my passion, or passions, plural, into something meaningful. So back in 2004, this is before I was to be a homeschool mom, but I kind of had a feeling that I would soon become one. At that time, blogging was pretty brand new, and podcasting was this quirky little thing that nobody was really talking about yet, but I loved it. I fell in love with it. And again, if you watch my video on YouTube, you'll hear more of that journey of how podcasting was something that I kind of had to break into at that time. But I initially created several podcasts for Christian women, women of faith, created a community for women online to connect with sort of this podcast being the center, the idea of being the center of our community. Years later, in 2012, I created a homeschool podcast to connect with other moms just like me, women juggling education, family, and faith. That was my first couple of passion projects. And from there, my journey just kept evolving. And I discovered that I had a love for entrepreneurship and supporting other women in building their dreams. So from there, I leaned into content creation because I love telling stories, I love teaching, and I like creating community online. And let me tell you, it was not always easy balancing all of that while raising my beautiful daughters, but I found ways to make it work because I was driven by my why. If you go back in my YouTube archives, you'll see a lot of my journey and how I was attempting to balance it all, balance homeschooling, balance, just the raising of children, a teenager, a young kid at the time. This is 7-8 years ago, while attempting to grow my business and my brands online. And so the reason why I made it work is because, again, my why, my passion. Over the years, I built brands around all these topics: homeschooling, entrepreneurship, faith-based content, and even digital marketing. And each one has been rooted in something I'm really passionate about. The thing is, when I found the common thread that tied all of my passions together, this is where my niche became crystal clear to me. And I'm always discovering new things about my niche all the time. So I haven't arrived to a place of the one and final light bulb moment, but I am a lot more clear today than I've ever been. And that's the power of aligning your passions with your purpose. So now we're going to talk about you. I've talked about myself and my journey, but let's talk about you. If you're still figuring out your passion or how to channel it into your content, I have a few tips for you that might be helpful. Plus, I do have a gift for you, which I'll tell you about in just a moment. So the first thing I want to invite you to do is to ask yourself what lights you up. So these are the topics that you could talk about for hours. These are things that you're so passionate about that when you see a problem, you want to solve that problem and help in that specific area. Your passion is often hiding in the answers to those two questions. What topics could you talk about forever? And what problems do you love solving? Just flipping this kind of back to myself again. What topics do I love talking about for hours? We'll just take a look at or listen to a few of my podcasts and you'll see what I like talking about. So that was really my answer. I loved at the time talking about what I was involved in, which was over 15 years of homeschooling. So I created a podcast about it because I loved talking about it and helping other people, other homeschool moms with their desire to homeschool their kids. That's what I love doing. I would even pop into Facebook groups or different places online where I knew homeschool moms hung out and answer questions. And that's where my passion lied years ago. Now, my passion lies more in the area of content creation and strategy, including podcasting, including web design and SEO, all of these things, because I know the power of having that knowledge when you want to be an online business owner or an entrepreneur, solopreneur. I know how important knowing these things are and how if I can share what I've learned over the past 20 years of creating content online, then I can help someone. That makes me feel really, really good that I can help someone. So it's not just in the area of me creating a website for a client, but for me, it goes way beyond the actual services that I provide one-on-one because it does take a lot of energy and time to work with one person at a time. But if I can help as many people as possible, for me, that means getting my content out there through my podcast, through my videos, and also through courses that I create so I can help more people at once. And so that's why I'm creating more products now and really focusing my energy on making digital products and being a course creator. And that way I can talk more about the things that I enjoy talking about and teaching. I'm a teacher at heart. I have been teaching my kids and other people's kids. And so I just feel like teaching technology, teaching content creation, SEO, and content strategy is like the next wave of my life right now as far as career goes. And it's just an easy transition to go from teaching one topic to teaching something else, although in another way, in a different format, but it's still teaching. And so that's what lights me up. So that's my first thing I would ask you to do. Ask yourself what lights you up. The second thing is to look at your journey. Your journey is your story, and your story is your superpower. So ask yourself what experiences have shaped you. I've just told you about some of my experiences and what pulls on my heartstrings and how I love to help people with their content strategy, but also how I like to help people with homeschooling. So these different things that shape my experience, but what shapes your experience? And ask yourself how that can play a part in your passions. Also, what skills have you mastered? So maybe you have some skills that others don't. And so really look at what you're good at doing, what people ask you to do. So whether it's a tech skill, a music skill, an art, problem solving, whether it's related to science or an academic subject, or if you're good at acting, like what is it that really lights your fire, something that you're good at? I've talked to a lot of women over the past few years specifically about this, asking them that question. And I'll have to admit that it's really difficult for me to hear women admit to me and to themselves that they don't feel that they have anything to offer in this world. And that makes me sad because I know they have something and I just so totally want to pull it out of them. I just want to pull the best out of them and bring it to the surface because that's my heart. I want to see people find their passion and find what they're good at and really utilize that in this world so that they can be the very, very best version of themselves that they want to be and desire to be. And so my encouragement to you is if you're feeling at all like you don't have anything to offer, I want you to really dig deep and think about that again because you do. And I sympathize with you because we all have gone through those seasons of wondering what we're good at and if we even have anything that's worth offering. But I want you to know that you do. And I want you to know that even if you haven't found what it is yet, it's there. It just hasn't been brought to the surface. And so just keep seeking and keep digging deep. Keep asking the right people the right questions. And please, whatever you do, keep the right people around your life and get all of the negative naysayers away from you and away from your space, especially your mental space. Maybe you can't physically get away from them, but at least don't allow their negative talk to take root in your heart. So that's my thing that I just really needed to emphasize because it's just such a burning passion on my heart that I want you to know you do have something to offer. And just by the mere fact that you're listening to this podcast, you are definitely interested in business. And so if you're looking for your thing that you can do online, this business that you can create, then I know you have something that you can bring to the table. And you just need to find out what that thing is. There's lots of people out there, lots of coaches that are willing to sit down with you and help you. However, I do have a free resource for you to just get you started. And that is called the Discover Your Passions Workbook. Again, it's my free gift to you. You can download it at the link in the show notes. And that's show notes for episode number 63. So just to wrap up that second point, chances are your passion is definitely connected to something that you've already overcome or something that you've already achieved. My third tip for you is to start small and then to experiment. Start small and experiment. You don't have to figure it all out today. Pick one passion, create content around that passion, and see how it feels. It's not going to be all fleshed out. It's not going to all make a lot of sense. And you more than likely won't be able to explain exactly what you're doing, how you're doing it, and where you're going. So if someone is to ask you, what is your business plan? You may not have that plan to share with anyone because you don't even know what you're doing. And that's perfectly okay. And not only is that perfectly okay, but it's normal. It's expected because that is the way being a creative can sometimes feel. And so don't ever feel like you're a fraud or start second guessing yourself just because you don't have it all figured out. You won't have it all figured out, believe me. And today, after 20 years, I still don't have it all figured out. But we take one day at a time as entrepreneurs. We are creatives. And so being a creative is very fluid, free-flowing, and sometimes things don't make sense, but it just feels right. Sometimes we need to have that structure and that plan in place, but other times we need to be flexible and not so rigid so that we can make transitions and change things as they need to so that it makes more sense. Again, life is fluid. The more things we learn, the more educated we become about a topic, the more information we have at our disposal, and the better decisions we can make in the moment. So if you don't know something today, you may know about it 2 or 3 weeks from now, and it will change your course and the trajectory of where you're going. So you don't stop working your business because you don't have it all figured out. You keep going until you figure it out, step by step, day by day, week by week, year by year, until you have figured out so much and you've looked back on the year past and you're amazed at how much you were able to accomplish. So regarding your passions, you pick that one passion. You start creating content around that one passion, whether it's your blog, your podcast, your YouTube, and then you just see how it feels. If it feels good, you keep going. If it doesn't feel right, you stop. You find the passion that feels good to talk about publicly. If you're not ready to talk about that particular passion, then maybe that's not the topic for you to create your business around. You want something that you're comfortable with, that you're comfortable talking to anyone about. If you were to be a guest on a podcast, would you be comfortable on that podcast sharing with thousands of listeners about that topic? You have to feel comfortable and you have to be willing to be vulnerable and somewhat a little bit exposed. Is that okay for you? And if it's not, really dig deep to see why it's not okay and then why you want to create a business around something that you're not okay with. You have to feel very comfortable with the business topic that you've chosen. Because remember, the more you show up, the clearer that your path becomes. So you're not going to know today until you start showing up. I have a slide example of something that I tried to do this summer. So this summer, I really had been going through a slump of sorts, just not feeling my best emotionally and physically, just not there completely. I just didn't feel good. And because of that, I was really just trying to contemplate what to do about my business direction and what I wanted to keep talking about, or maybe did I want to switch gears and do something different? I thought about taking on a couple of different types of jobs. And so I was looking at different industries and do I want to go into education? Do I want to go into digital marketing? Like, what do I want to do? And will this be part-time or full-time? And how can I maintain my business while doing these things as well? So I had a lot going on, a lot of decisions to make over this past summer. And in doing so, I found that I really wanted to tap into my health a lot more and then maybe even share about my health journey with others. And so I thought that I would start an Instagram where I would share my health journey. I started maybe a couple of posts, 2 or 3, and then I just quit. And so I really desired to do it. It's something that I may come back to in the future, but it just wasn't the right time. You know, I had 2 or 3 posts and they felt okay, but it just felt really forced and it didn't feel natural. It didn't flow for me at the time. And that on top of everything that all the decisions I was making and everything I was going through and just not really feeling like making content. I just stopped doing it. And so, you know, I still have that Instagram. It's one of my many accounts that I've been playing around with to see, you know, what to do with it. But I haven't posted since a few months ago, and I don't plan to post back there anytime soon. But what feels right to me right now is sharing about content creation, content strategy, online marketing for women entrepreneurs who have really been trying to do this and tap into their passions and share content around what makes them light up and makes them happy. So that's where I am right now. And it feels good and it feels right for me. So I'm encouraging you to do the same. Find something that feels right to you and capitalize on what feels good. So here's what I've learned in my 20 years of content creation. The first thing is that your passion will evolve, and that's okay. Again, going back to my story, I've evolved from creating a faith-based community in 2004 to podcasting and digital marketing in 2006 to moving it and also website design and to moving into homeschooling later on, circa 2012, and then right back to content marketing now in 2024. And so this has been a journey that has kind of started with one topic, made its way to a whole different niche in the education space and right back into digital marketing. And I love it. And that's just to show that what you're passionate about today may look different in 5 years. So just embrace the journey and just go with it. Secondly, consistency doesn't mean perfection. It's about showing up more often than not. So give yourself grace on the hard days. Like I said, I had my share of hard days this summer where I didn't show up as much and I didn't feel like creating content. So I just didn't, right? But when you're feeling good, show up and do the work and give yourself grace on those hard days because there will be some and you won't always feel like going hard at business. So when you feel like it, do it and do it with all your might. But when you feel like taking a break, take a break, because your life needs that rest. And also, while you're creating content, you do it in a way that you set your business up for success, and you set yourself up for financial success as well, because while you're away, you have your business running on the back end that could be potentially bringing you residual income. So that is the direction that we want to be in, so that we're not always having to be using our here and now, the physical time and space, to trade energy and time for dollars when we could be set up for passive income. So my encouragement is to create those digital products and try to get something going that you can always sort of pull out of your back pocket and say, okay, I have this on the back end, so that if I have to step away for a season, then I still have my business running. And lastly, just know that your passion will attract the right people. When you create from a place of authenticity, you're going to connect with an audience who truly values what you bring to the table. They care about you. They care about what you have to say, and they're listening. They're listening to you. They're watching you. They're reading your content. It means something to them. So be authentic, be real. That's why it's great to have really embraced your journey and your story, so that you can infuse that in your content and just be real. And that's what I've learned in 20 years. I may have some more of these types of content to share with you about what I've learned in the past 20 years, because I've learned so many more things. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. But for now, friends, let's wrap this up. Passion is the fuel that will keep you going. And I'm living proof that it works. So if you're ready to create that content that aligns with your purpose and builds your brand, I would love for you to check out my new course, Content with Confidence. It is packed with strategies to help you show up boldly and consistently, and it's on sale until Black Friday, so don't wait. The link is in the show notes. And don't forget to watch my latest YouTube video where I break down my 20-year journey and I share how I built over 10 brands in 2 decades. Trust me, you will walk away inspired. So thank you for tuning in to the Her Business Elevated podcast. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review. I love reviews. It just makes my day, and I love it because it helps Apple Podcasts to see that this is a credible resource for the entrepreneur. And I'd love for you to share this podcast also with a friend. And as always, keep building, keep growing, and keep elevating your business. You've got this. See you next time.